Okay, we'll just segue into the regular NASCAR media availability with Danica Patrick. If you have questions, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you real quick. Woody over here. And then we'll go to Holly.
Woody came from MRN to your right, Danica. Before we get into the racing this weekend, was just wanting to go back a little bit and ask you about the cooking contest you had earlier this week with DeMarcus Ware and how that went and what you cooked. I mean, you've been doing a lot of stuff like that this year. It seems like it's pretty fun for you.
Yeah, I think that I definitely got launched into the cooking world when people saw the Chopped episode or heard about it. So, Nationwide Insurance was is partnered with DeMarcus Ware now, and we're trying to think of something to do for the North Texas Food Bank, and we were just kind of talking about it. It was when I was out in Raleigh doing an appearance for them out there, where I met the governor and all kinds of things. So I said, let's cook. And he said that there were kids involved, and I said, well, that'd be fun if they picked the ingredients. And so we had a lot of fun, and DeMarcus can cook too. It was breakfast oriented, which is perfect because it doesn't take as long. So it was fun, and we raised money, and that was important. And we got to cook, which is always fun for me.
All right, we're going to go Holly.
I made French toast. I made scrambled eggs with cheese and peppers and spinach, and a smoothie.
All right. We'll go Holly, and then Bob, and then over to Brian.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Danica, having almost completed the full season, I wanted to ask you, what was the bigger transition for you looking back at it now, going IndyCar into stock cars, or going from Nationwide to a full season of Cup, and why?
That's a good question. I think it was definitely a bigger transition to go from Indy cars to stock cars. It's just that I was doing it on a smaller platform with the Nationwide series, and so I'm really glad that GoDaddy was supportive of the recommended process to getting to Sprint Cup, because if I were to go from IndyCar to straight to Cup, it would have been an incredible challenge. And so I'm appreciative for my partners standing behind the right way to do things, the recommended way to do things, and to have that patience and belief. So yeah, I would say it is. And it just the stock cars are definitely just a lot different than an IndyCar, and so understanding the flow of the races and what the cars do, it was important to have the base of the Nationwide series experience going into Cup. But it's still very hard, but it was definitely bigger going from open wheel.
All right, Bob, and then we'll go to Brian.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. I don't know how long you've known about that you were going to be in the Super Bowl commercial again next year, but obviously is announced this week. I'm curious if you see that as any sort of kind of vote of confidence considering the year that you've had, and then also can you just comment on kind of the change in philosophy for GoDaddy's branding?
I guess I've never been 100% sure I was going to be in their Super Bowl commercials at any point until they announced it, and it's usually fairly late in the year. So their creative is very important, and their marketing campaign, and in particular the Super Bowl commercials. So, I was really happy last year when they had me, and I'm very happy now to be in it again. And I don't necessarily see these Super Bowl commercials as a specific change in philosophy. I feel like that's kind of been happening for a little while, but definitely throughout this year, as we saw the rollout of the Jean-Claude Van Damme series of commercials, and social media pictures of him doing the splits and things. So I think that it's just, the problem is that not a lot of people knew exactly what GoDaddy did. So I think it's smart to expand on that, and in particular help the small businesses of America grow and have that platform to, I think in GoDaddy's words, kick ass. Would I be concerned if I wasn't in the Super Bowl commercials? I don't know. I suppose I would wish I was, and wonder how, why not? But Blake has been so supportive of this whole program, and had such great things to say. It wasn't all that long ago, but a few weeks ago, had spoke about being with me for an awful long time, I think were his words. So, if I wasn't in the Super Bowl commercials, those kinds of things are reassuring. But definitely when there's transition with companies, with who's in charge and making decisions, you definitely hope that you're part of those decisions for a long time. And all the things that have been happening this year are very reassuring. And, I've always said, and I will always say, that it's most important that my sponsor benefits the most out of it, that their company grows, and I want to help them do that.
Let's go over here.
Brian Nelson, MRN. Danica, for earlier in the summer there were some comparisons to your rookie year record and some of the other guys who've come up in the Sprint Cup Series and accomplished a great deal, and I guess they were pretty good. Your record in this rookie year. So I wanted to get you to look back on your progress throughout the season, and just how would you describe or evaluate where you're at now versus where you'd really like to be?
I feel like the year I've had, the rookie year I've had, has been actually similar to Nationwide, to be honest, and that wasn't super fast trying to figure out how to go fast, and then when I finally figured out how to go faster, it seemed to be ridden with bad luck and just things happening and silly mistakes, and and then kind of come the end of the year starting to get it together, and I think that did happen. I think a lot of those things did happen this year. I would like to be running better at this point, but last weekend at Martinsville was definitely a better weekend for us, and I think we have some good races coming up for us. But we've been qualifying better at some of the tracks. I mean, at Charlotte, my car by the end of the race, I got done and said, I don't really know what else you could do to make it better other than just throw a couple 100 pounds more downforce on this thing so I can go faster, or 50 pounds or 20 pounds or anything. I feel like we have been making improvements, but at the same time here come the end of the year, because we're looking towards next year, we've also been taking bigger chances, and so trying different things with the car that, we have not tested, and we're just thinking that we need to get ahead for next year. And while we're not throwing away this year, we're using it as a way to prepare for 14. So, those are some things that hadn't happened, let's say, at the end of my Nationwide year for the last year. So, I think it's been similar, but I suppose on a slightly diluted level, because everybody's so good in Sprint Cup. And I think that, if we can find our way to the next little level, it's going to be really competitive and a much more satisfying spot to be in. But I can't tell you what I would expect to be, where I expect to be. I don't know. As I've always said to you guys for the last couple of years, is that, everybody learns at a different pace and a different rate, and there are going to be times that I'm probably going to do better than you expect, and there are times I'm going to do worse than you expect. And, that path just is, going to happen for a couple of years until, you really can get into a rhythm and know what you're doing.
Other questions? All right, we'll wrap up. Let's go here first, please, and then we'll go back to Stanford.
Jane Slater, CBS 11, TXA 21. Staying with that theme, what have you learned about yourself as a person, not necessarily the driver, after making that switch from Indy over to stock?
I don't know. As a person, I mean, I think that something that it happens inside of the there, but that's what we're doing here. I always thought that I was a patient driver and methodical, and there is a lot of that, but I really realized this year how just getting a little overly excited or anxious or frustrated can bite you so hard. And we're just that close to the edge all the time, and you push that limit, and bad things happen. So I found myself actually having to be even more patient than I am normally. So that's probably one of the things that, as far as a personality in the car, has surprised me a little bit this year.
All right, this will be the last question. Stan?
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Danica, one of your folks this morning said that the reason you do so well at Martinsville and some other tracks is that Martinsville in demand is a lot like IndyCar. Do you feel that way at all?
In what way did they say it was like IndyCar?
In what it demands from both a driver and a race car?
I think there are two things. I think that Tony Gibson has traditionally had good cars there. I think that's part of it. We had a really good test at Little Rock at the beginning of the year before we went to Martinsville, and I think really gave ourselves a good base setup that I felt comfortable with, because every driver is a little bit different. And then I think beyond that, I think it's a track that it's a lot about rhythm, patience, discipline. It's very easy there after 20 laps to, blow the entry and have mistakes, and it was catastrophic to get four wheels into the marbles above the, 1.5 lanes up. So, limiting those mistakes, I think, was, part of how I moved up so much. And so I think between those two things, that's what's been working at Martinsville. And then there's just I don't know, I guess I just am okay there.